Hey guys, welcome back to my games I beat for 2018, the super duper late edition, better late than never, as I always say. As you guys know, I've been in a little bit of a gaming funk, not only playing games, but also producing content, but again, better late than never to provide my games that I beat in 2018. And 2018 was another year where, my gaming funk had already started, and the number of games I beat was fairly low at a total of 21. I've been doing this pretty much every year on my channel, and this has been my lowest number of games beaten in one year. Just a quick rundown: in 2014, I beat 45 games. In 2015, I beat 26. In 2016, I beat 34. And on 2017, I beat 35. So with 21 games, it's a very low number. And also, a lot of the games I beat were very, very, very short. So in a way, it feels like I cheated a little bit. But these are games that I played. Some of them, again, were very short, but fun to me nevertheless. But without further ado, let's just go down through my list really quick. And the first game I beat in 2018 was Raiden 4 Overkill, which is a vertical scrolling shooting game. Only, as far as I'm concerned, only available on the PlayStation 3, PSN network. I don't think there is a physical copy, maybe in Japan, but I kind of play that game in preparation to play Raiden 5, which I own on the PlayStation 4, and which I haven't gotten around to it. So this is another one of those games that is fairly short, being a vertical scrolling shooting game, but I had a lot of fun playing this game, and I'm sure Raiden 5 it's an even improved type of product, so looking forward to playing that. At number 2 and number 3, we have Metal Slug and Metal Slug 2 respectively. I bought the Metal Slug Anthology on the PlayStation 4, so of course, I'm a huge fan of those games, and I did play a couple of them, and throughout this video I'll reveal the other ones. I have not played the entirety of the anthology, but most of them, and as you guys know, these are classics by SNK shooting games, but they're very short, so hence why so far I have 3 games on my list, and they're all very, very short, but nevertheless these are very, very fun. And they have one of the of my favorite animated animated action and games out there. They're one of my favorites. So Metal Slug 1 and 2 at number 2 and 3. The fourth game I beat in 2018 was Windjammers for the PlayStation Vita. I bought the physical version that was released through limited run games. And Windjammers is a classic of mine. I think one of the earliest videos in my channel was a gameplay video of me playing the MAME, or emulated version of the arcade game. It's a very unique game with a lot of cheesy SNK, early to mid 90s flair to it. It's a very fun game that I really enjoyed, and I'm really happy that limited run games released it. I'm not a huge fan of buying their games, but for one of my favorite games on the on the Neo Geo, I had to pull the trigger and get the physical version. Decided to go with the PlayStation Vita version of the game. At number 5, we have Killer Instinct Classic, which is a fighting game on the Xbox One. And I did beat the single player mode with a couple of characters. I want to say Fulgore, Orchid, and Saberwolf. Very hard game. Beating Idol, on the normal difficulty, it's quite the challenge, because this is basically the arcade version, not the Super Nintendo one. For the Super Nintendo version, I had a couple of tricks that I used to in beating Idol, which is the boss of the game, that made him easier. But the arcade version, he is as as cheating as as it can be in any arcade game. At number 6, perhaps the longest game, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I think I clocked in around 90 to 95 hours on a Nintendo Switch. Fantastic JRPG, highly recommended. Perhaps not on the same spot as Xenoblade Chronicles, which is one of my favorite games of all time, let alone one of my favorite RPGs of all time, but also one of my favorite games of all time. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a fantastic game. Rex, Pyra, all the characters, and the different drivers you can use. A lot of variety in terms of gameplay, which definitely made the game a fantastic experience. So, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, highly recommended if you guys enjoy JRPGs. Number 7, another short game. This is a fighting game, Neo Geo Battle Coliseum on the Xbox 360 via Xbox One, via the Xbox, what do they call it, the Gold Pass. Another crazy crossover games with Neo Geo or SNK characters. I really enjoy these types of games. I decided to download it for free as part of that subscription for the Xbox Game Pass service. At number 8, a game that I have an impressions video here on my channel, Enslaved Odyssey to the West for the PlayStation 3. An action-adventure game by Ninja Theory. I really enjoyed this game, especially the story at the end. A very cool ending that I really enjoyed, and of course, the companionship of the two characters, Monkey and Trip, was also very remarkable, coupled with the post-apocalyptic setting in the game. It made up for a very solid PlayStation 3 game. It might have not aged as well as we all were hoping, but nevertheless, it's worth a playthrough if you guys have not played it yet. At number 9, we have Metal Slug X. We're going back to the Metal Slug anthology, and this is basically an updated version of Metal Slug 2. So if you guys enjoy Metal Slug 2, and make sure you give Metal Slug X a try for the extra content and elements. At number 10, we have Short Piece, which is another Grasshopper manufacturer game, Suda51 craziness. This is actually an import game. If you import the PlayStation 3 version, you get the 4 films that are part. This is basically like a multimedia project that comprises, I think, 4 short films and then the video game by Grasshopper manufacturer. So if you're into crazy side-scrolling craziness with that require a lot of quick reflexes, it's kind of like a Bit Trip Runner a little bit, but on crack and with Suda's 51 craziness. So if you guys want to see something really wacky, make sure you try Short Piece. This is for the PlayStation 3. Number 11, another lengthy game. We have Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, one of my favorite games of 2018. And definitely, the end of the Kiryu saga, if you will. It was a fantastic game that featured a very interesting storyline and introduced a new area to explore. Besides, Kamurocho, which it's a recurring setting of the game, but this time the island of Onomichi was, one of the fun places to explore, and really happy. I enjoyed the game, and I enjoyed the new graphics for this game. It was basically built from the ground up for the PlayStation 4, so a lot of the graphics were vastly improved versus some of the older games in the series. At number 12, another game that I enjoyed thoroughly. I do have an impressions video, and that game is Quantum Break on the Xbox One. A science, action adventure game, third person with a lot of action and real life movie clips in between, which I thought were very interesting. This is developed by Remedy, published by Microsoft, and it's one of those Xbox One exclusive games that it's worth a try if you own the system and you want a very high quality production game. Perhaps not the best third-person shooter game out there. It has a very complex story, but nevertheless, I had a lot of fun playing Quantum Break on the Xbox One. Number 13. A platformer. You guys know I love my platformers, and this one is Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch, or the Nintendo Switch version. An interesting game. I know it's a little bit divided. I thought it was an okay Sonic game, but a lot of people, it's a divided game. A lot of people hate it. Some people seem to enjoy it. So it's up to you. Worth a try if you guys are into the the Sonic games. I thought it was a decent Sonic game. So yeah, that was number 13. The 14th game I beat was Resident Evil on the PlayStation 4. This is basically the remake, remastered for the PlayStation 4, the remake of the GameCube. Basically, no secrets here. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, you'll know that this is one of my favorite games of all time. It's my favorite Resident Evil game of all time. So I do have, I did a live stream, so I do have a couple of videos of me playing this game if you guys are interested. But yeah, Resident Evil the remake is just an unforgettable experience, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. So I had a really fun time going back and exploring the mansion, the original game. It was another fantastic experience, even though I already beat this game I think 9 times back in the day for the GameCube. The 15th game is Crash Bandicoot, the first game, part of the trilogy on the PlayStation 4. What a tough game. I do not recall this game being as difficult when I played it back in the day, but nevertheless a very tough game that I think a lot of people were saying that the remake has a little bit of a different physics and different jump mechanics that made the game harder, especially on certain levels. If you guys played it, you probably know which ones I'm referring to. But nevertheless, this remake, I think it was pretty well done, and it just shows how fun the original Crash game was. So another platformer that I was really happy to replay, and looking forward to playing the other 2 games in the trilogy. Number 16, my old stomping grounds, Battlefield 3. This is the 360 version. My most played version obviously was the PlayStation 3, but through the magic of EA Access and through the magic of Xbox Live and the backwards compatibility for the 360 games, I went back to my old addiction of Battlefield 3, and it's always fun. This is probably my most played game of all time, so it's always fun to go back and replay the levels and the multiplayer. It's really fun. At number 17, another game that I did an impressions video for the Nintendo Switch. Got this on day one, SNK Heroines. A very interesting take on the on the female characters on the SNK universe. A very strange fighting mechanics in this game. Not your conventional. You deplete the health and you win. The game does have its quirks, but it makes for an interesting fighting game. So if you guys are into that, make sure you check out SNK Heroines. At number 18, we have FIFA 18. As you guys know, I play these games every year, and what I consider a beat is basically playing one full season of the season mode, basically, which takes a while to complete. So I did that with FIFA 18. Every year, I pretty much play these games for 1 or 2 seasons, sometimes even more, because I really enjoy soccer games, and the FIFA games are always up there for me every year. So the 19th game I beat is none other than Mario Tennis Aces for the Nintendo Switch. I believe I also have an impressions video on this and on this game, and it was a very fun game with the comeback of a quote-unquote RPG/story mode. It's not a full-on detailed RPG mode like in the Game Boy games, but it was a very enjoyable single-player story game, and your typical arcadey tennis gameplay that it's a characteristic of all the Mario sports games. So I really had a great time playing this game on the Nintendo Switch. Highly recommended. Tons of unlockable content, and the online is also a pretty fun mode to extend the replay value of this game. And we're moving to number 20, which is Night Trap on the Nintendo Switch. I got this game as a gift from a friend. I was actually glad to play this. Back in the day, I was always interested in playing all these, CGI, types of real life clips games. that I could not do it because I only owned a Super Nintendo back in the day, and these games were always for the Sega CD and the CDI, all those 3DO, all those systems that required a very big expense to buy those games. So it was an interesting experience. I might do an impressions video on this, but yeah, a very cheesy game that in the end, I'm kind of glad it got re-released. Just it takes you back to that era of games that games were just different. And finally, at number 21, I have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch. I've unlocked most of the characters in 2018. It's hard to, what do you consider, beating the game? Is it unlocking all the characters? Well, for me, it's watching the credits. So you can actually do that really quick in a couple of minutes, 5-10 minutes. You can, roll the credits when you play the adventure mode, I guess. But I did beat that mode multiple times with different characters in order to, increase my playing time and eventually unlock all the characters. I want to say I'm over halfway done. I need to get back to the game because I really want to unlock all the characters. But again, I'm in this gaming funk that I need to get out of in order to enjoy and play more games. So there you have it, guys. 21 games. Not a bad number. Back in, when was it? Let me just check my list here. Yeah, back in 2015, I quote unquote only beat 26 games, but with the big caveat that those 26 games had longer games in the mix. And as you guys can probably tell in my list in 2018, out of the 21 games, a lot of them were really short games, fighting games or games like Short Piece, that you can beat in like 2 or 3 hours. The Metal Slug games, you can beat them in under an hour maybe. So a lot of shorter games, but hey, it's not like I purposely play them just to pad up my list. But it's a sign of just being busy and playing shorter games to feel a little bit accomplished, and I should go definitely go back and try to get out of the gaming funk, and that way I can beat more games. But I'm off to a really bad start in 2019. But that's another a time for another story for the next year. So yeah, we'll see what happens in 2019, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all guys later.